Welcome to a new episode of Josh's Car Corner. If you watched the last episode, you knew I said I was going to reveal something big. Well, that day has finally come. Directly in front of me right now is the big thing I'm going to be revealing to you right now. And we're going to have to sneak up on it because I want to see if you can figure this out before you see the whole thing. So we're in my backyard, and what you might be able to know right away is that we just rolled something back here. So the big reveal is this is a new project car. So let's just take a look at it right here. So we're looking at the front of it. Now, you look at that, and the hood might look a little similar to you, except for these parts right here, these little edges that stick out. That's a little unusual, but going down the side here might start look a little more familiar. So there are these fender flutes here, and again, you might have seen those before too. And then we start to look here, and it starts to look a little more like something you'd be familiar with. So it's got a front door on it. It looks a lot like a GTO, but you also notice that antenna hole right here. So we go back a little bit. Wait, there's another door. GTOs weren't four-door. Commodores were four-door, though. Did he import a Commodore? And it's an SS Commodore, too. That's cool. Haven't seen an SS Commodore in the U.S., but that's a bed. That's a truck bed. And it's four-door. Josh, what the hell did you buy? This is a 2005 Holden Crewman SSZ. Now let me tell you what SSZ is all about. So SSZ is a model that they released at the end of a production run. So this was a VZ platform Crewman. And at the very end of the VZ platform run, they released 930 models of all the Holden cars, except for the Monaro, that were SS versions. This is an upscale version that had the best interior, upgraded wheels. This got the VZ Monaro wheels on it. It just made it the most luxurious version of a Crewman you can see. Now, you might not even know what a Crewman is. Well, obviously it's a Ute because it's got doors and it's got a bed and it's based on the VZ platform. Crewman is a four-door extended version that they also did. And then, if I'm not mistaken, Holden is the only one that ever did a four-door Ute. I don't think Ford ever did it with the Falcon. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But they actually released commercials for this thing when it came out, and I think it was back in 2002. I found this commercial on YouTube showing the introduction of the Crewman. Check this out.
Introducing Australia's first four-door Ute for you and the crew.
Are you ready for a good time?
The all-new Holden Crewman.
Now I know, if you understand physics, you understand it's not physically possible to do a burnout and make the front of the vehicle longer when it's rear-wheel drive, but you get the idea. So now I found this because my buddy Ali strolls around on Facebook Marketplace and he found it. And it was in so much better condition than other ones I had seen that I had to buy it. And the price, I'm not going to tell you what I paid for it, but the price was like, I have to buy it because the price is so ridiculously cheap. It's going to need a lot of work, so I'm going to take you around a tour of it now so you can see what all it's going to take to put this thing back together. So starting under the hood here, it looks a lot similar to a GTO, with the exception of this AC line that comes along here, and also obviously right-hand drive, so the steering rack comes down here. Brake master was mounted here. ABS is still in the same place, although they have removed it on this one. I think the cradle's pretty much the same. There are a couple of holes on the back of the cradle that are different. There's extra holes on the GTO one that are not here, so it is a little bit different. Yet it does have the hole back here for the computer wiring that goes through. So I think the computer was mounted on these things right here, just like a GTO. Same lines coming up. It's got an evap line and a fuel line coming up. So that's pretty much the same. And this was a manual car, so there is a clutch line. I think this is a clutch line right here. It might have something else to do with AC or something. It goes down there. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it does have a good radiator in it, and just like the GTOs, the condensers were made by Calsonic, which is a Nissan company. So There is a power distribution block here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to use that or if I'm going to have to swap that out for GTO stuff as well. That will come in the future. Coming into the interior here, obviously steering wheel on this side, which is a little weird, I know. And this thing kind of smells like it's been sitting outside for a while. That cardboard, it's actually got a strong cardboard smell. But there is an airbag sensor module here that actually says Holden on it instead of GM. That's where the M6 transmission was, and there is no dash at all. It's all can be completely ripped out. There is a fuse block here, but the body control module's gone. The wiring for the body control module is there. I think that's what these three connectors are all right here. So I can plug a body control module back into it. The roof liner is gone. It does have the back seat, and it has the back door trims. The front door trims have been robbed of those leather pieces right there for reasons I don't understand, and I think they are shorter than GTO pieces, so I'm probably going to have to get new skins from Australia. A lot of stuff. The carpet, they can't even get Crewman carpet in Australia anymore, so I'm going to have to do what they do and get Commodore carpet and cut the back to fit under the back seat. So lots of work to be done on the interior as well. Now, the other piece of good news is that the original front bumper was with this thing, and I have confirmed that this is the correct SSZ front bumper, so they didn't replace it with the incorrect model. All the bumper tabs are in place. All the bolt holes are there. It's not cracked or broken anywhere, so that's good. The paint's chipping, but that's okay. The car needs to be resprayed anyway. So that's in good shape. I will be able to put that back together as well. Now, when you get to the back here is where it gets pretty cool. So obviously it's got a lift gate and everything, which actually opens from the inside. Flip it down. And here's your thing. There's a bunch of holes in the bed too that are going to have to be blocked off. Actually, what's weird in Australia, they don't call this a bed, they call it a tray. And what you'll notice on a lot of guys do with utes over in Australia is they'll take this body tray off and put on an aluminum tray. I guess the reason is because it's so much lighter than the factory steel bodied tray that fits the car. You can increase the amount of weight you can carry by switching to that lighter one. If I'm wrong about that, someone please correct me, but I think that's why they have it. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and is underneath the car. Now, GTOs and Commodores are all unibody construction. Utes are what's called a cab chassis. So in the front, it's all VZ platform. It's the same as a GTO, same as a Commodore. Once you get to the back here, these frame rails start, and then they go up and along the back, and there's a cross frame system back here, and then it goes back forward, and they call it a cab chassis. Now, something that happened, another part of the stripping process, and something I'm a little disappointed about, is that there is no, it's supposed to be a solid rear axle. This is not an axle though. This is just a couple of pieces of tube steel that somebody welded together to make a faux axle to mount wheels on, so this thing can be rolled around. So I am gonna have to get an axle from Australia to put this thing back together, because there won't be any axle over here that's got a 5x120 bolt pattern. So that is gonna have to be imported. And then the fuel tank is up there on the right hand side. Looks like a pretty good sized fuel tank. And then it's got a single exhaust system. They left that on here. And it's actually got to go over the solid beam axle too, as long as I make a heat shield for the tank. I'd love to have it be dual exhaust. I don't know if that's something they ever did. And it's even got a place here, look at this, to hold a spare tire. This is the thing you crank to drop down a spare wheel. So I'm probably gonna have to get a fifth wheel for it too, just to be complete. The other thing that's missing back here, which I'm a little disappointed about, is there is supposed to be a brace back here for a trailer hitch. These things are actually rated to tow 5,500 pounds. So if you look here, there's supposed to be a cutout in the rear bumper right here for the hitch. So I'm gonna have to get another one of those from Australia, because I'm fairly confident the GTO trailer brace is not gonna work on this thing because it is so different. But I do wanna get that as well. Now, for those of you that are watching in Australia that might be a little upset that this is here, let me just say, I did not import this. There is a guy in Australia that imports Australian vehicles to the US, and he exports US vehicles to Australia. He brought it in, was trying to sell it. I found it, I bought it, and I'm gonna fix it. So I didn't want to just leave it sit. I didn't want anything else bad to happen to this. I wanted it to be back together and be running again. So I'm glad it found its way to me so I can put it back together and do it right. So this is the plan. get the GTO back together, get the engine back together, get the GTO running again, and then all the time and attention is going to go to putting this thing back together. There are a couple of scenarios of how I'm going to be able to put it back together, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to pursue yet. I have to actually talk to some people. Getting it titled is going to be kind of interesting. It is definitely possible. I will get it done. It's just how I can get it titled, and that's going to be one of the first things I have to figure out. It's going to be a long process to put this thing back together. It's going to definitely be months, but to do it properly, it's going to be probably about a year, because I want to do it right. So that means fixing all the body, getting the interior back as original as it can be, putting everything as Holden as it can be. I do not want this thing to look like a Pontiac Ute. I know a lot of guys have imported Utes and just used all GTO parts and made them basically Pontiac Utes. I'm not doing that. This thing is going to stay as Holden as it possibly can. So now you know what's going on. This is the big reveal. I am so thrilled that I found this thing. I've wanted a Ute for a long time, and to get a Crewman in this condition and this rare an edition is even cooler. So I cannot wait to spend the next few months putting this thing back together. Most likely it will be converted to left-hand drive using parts from a donor GTO. Fortunately, I know a guy who has all the parts in the world to make that happen, so I won't have to go strip another GTO apart in order to do it. I can use parts he has laying around. But it's going to be a process. There'll be a lot of episodes. Anytime I'm working on this thing, especially doing the conversion to left-hand drive, I will make videos about it. I mean, this thing's going to need a lot of doing. All new brakes, completely new driveline, including an axle as it turns out, new interior, new this, new that. A lot of parts that I'll have to be purchased from Australia. Going to need a lot of help from some folks down there too, but fortunately they've all been willing to help me out however they can already, and I appreciate them for that. So I hope you're as excited about this new project as I am. The GTO will still get worked on too, and obviously putting that back together comes first, and that will get filmed. You will see that as well. So keep watching the show. I will try to release updates. It's still in the 110 plus here every single day, and it's going to be for at least another month, so I won't be working on this thing too much, and I won't be working on the GTO a whole lot either, but I'm going to try to whenever I can. So keep looking for updates to the show. I might post little pictures on Facebook from time to time of things that I'm doing, just to give you a little taste there if you want to check it out. But keep watching, because this show just got really good in a lot of different ways, and I cannot wait till the day I have got 2 running driving Holdens that I can drive around in. So thank you so much for watching Josh's Car Corner, and I will see you next time. Like what you just saw? Let me know with a thumbs up, or by subscribing and clicking that little bell so you know when new episodes come out. And be sure to join the new Facebook group I set up too for Josh's Car Corner. It'll eventually get lowered down to the right height, and it'll have a topper on the bed, and it'll be awesome.
Make sure you put a full suspension.
Yep. I noticed that whoever stripped it, they put these badges. These aren't the right badges. This one back here, this is the right badge. This is an SSZ, but the SSZ parts are rare because they only sold 930 of these in Australia, so that's why it got stripped. It got stripped for parts, yeah.
These are real Pontiac.
Oh, yeah.
That was Volkswagen. So,
I'm a Holden guy. I'm a Holden guy through and through, so I absolutely...
So why? Where did you ever come up? I've never even heard
So
of these.
okay, so the Pontiac GTO that we got is based on a coupe they made over there called the Holden Monaro. So when they started shipping those over here, I just fell in love with the car, and then I wanted to know the whole backstory of it and everything. And then that G8 sedan they made, that was another Holden. It was a Commodore sedan. It was based on that. And the Chevy SS, the Chevy Caprice cop car, those are both Holden cars that were built over there and shipped over here. So
that's where we got the SS from.
So we've been getting Australian cars for the last 15 years. And
We just didn't know.
a lot of people don't even know. Yeah, they love their V8s, they love their muscle cars as much as we do. And
He asked me,
Yeah.
he said, what do you know about Australian cars? I said, Mad Max.
exactly, Fury Road.
That's about all I know.